The Harry Potter show just got some exciting news. We got our first bit of details regarding how season 1 will play out. For instance, how many episodes will be in season 1, how long will each episode be, and so much more. Now, the Harry Potter show is also apparently not going to be heavily relying on visual effects for the magic. They plan to go a more practical route. So we're going to talk about what that means for this series. Now, we also got some news that John Lithgow is allegedly filming today for Dumbledore. So could the first look be right around the corner? We have a lot to cover, so check the video chapters for easy viewing, and let's get started. So today marks a pretty big milestone for the series, as apparently the acclaimed actor John Lithgow has reportedly begun filming his role as the iconic Hogwarts headmaster Albus Dumbledore. Now, if you've seen my channel a lot, then you know John Lithgow is known for his really versatile performances and projects like The Crown, Third Rock from the Sun, and Dexter. Despite there being some concerns about, John Lithgow being an American, he does a great British accent, and I think he should be able to live up to the portrayal by Richard Harris and Michael Gambon. Those two were legendary with their performances as Dumbledore, and I think that John Lithgow definitely has the ability to do the character justice. Now, with his filming officially happening, could we see an official look at Albus Dumbledore, played by John Lithgow, in his signature robes and beard soon? I think that we are really close to seeing our first official look, which honestly, there's a lot riding on how Dumbledore looks in this series. There's some people that even suggest that if he doesn't look good, and like Dumbledore, it could be pretty disastrous for the overall vibe and look of the show. But I mean, if you just look at the costume design of everyone that we've seen so far, like Nick Frost as Hagrid, I think they'll be able to crush the Dumbledore look. I'm really curious to see what direction they're going to take. Are they going to be more like the movies, or are they going to try to be more book accurate? I'm guessing they're probably going to go with the book accuracy. Not that the movies were that far off, but I had a distinct look of Dumbledore in my head from the books that didn't really capture on screen. However, I do think Richard Harris and Michael Gambon did a great job as Dumbledore. They really have the opportunity to make him look book accurate, which is really exciting. Now, adding to some of the excitement, the official Harry Potter Instagram account teased the Back to Hogwarts event, which that of course stirred a bunch of excitement amongst fans. Now, this is the annual celebration that's held on September 1st, or the start of the Hogwarts school year, and this thing could be the biggest one that we get yet. Could we get news about the Harry Potter show during that event? I would say yes. Perhaps we even see panels during a live stream that's set to take place on September 1st, which would be really cool. Imagine they just have the entire cast show up in full makeup and costume for their characters. That would be an absolute wild time. I doubt we're going to get anything like that, super crazy, but I do think they're going to have some presence at this event. I doubt we're going to get a teaser trailer or anything like that. That's probably another year-ish away. They're actively filming for the first 2 seasons. So yeah, it's going to be quite a while before we get our official teaser trailer for this show. But in terms of getting a first look at some of the characters in full costume, I think that's a very strong possibility, but only time will tell. Now, another thing that I really hope happens is we actually get a full announcement, or, just give us the release date for Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone Audible that's fully dramatized and casted. That is obviously allegedly happening this year, so hopefully we get some news about that soon. Who knows? What if they just shadow drop the release of that on Audible? That would be completely bonkers. I hope it happens. But again, we will just have to wait and see. So now let's jump into the season 1 details we have for the Harry Potter show. Now, there was earlier reports that said that season 1 would only be 6 episodes long, but we have the official confirmation that season 1 of the show will span across 8 episodes, which that essentially gives them 8 hours to work with this season, which that should allow the creative team to really add in space to explore the story's nuances without having to rush through the story like the original films. With there being more episodes, it does come the opportunity to dive into specific character backstories, magical lore, and other pivotal moments that we really didn't get with the first movie. I'm glad we're getting it for the first season of this show. My hopes is that this 8-episode format will provide a really rich and immersive experience, making it so that every single episode of the show is pulling from another page of the book. I mean, to really just put things into perspective, if you remember the audiobook for Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, the unabridged version of that is about 8 hours and 25 minutes. With Jim Dale in the US version being 8 hours and 18 minutes. So season 1 of the show could have the same duration as the audiobook. This near 1-to-1 correlation tells me that the series is really trying to be faithful to the source material in terms of like how they plan on doing certain events. I doubt they're going to adapt like the book's dialogue into the show, but the reality is they have 8 hours to work with rather than only having like, 2 hours to work with. And now that we know that season 1 will be 8 episodes long, there's been a lot of people providing like straight up outlines for how they think that season 1 will go down. Now, it's also worth mentioning that each episode of the show will likely not run a full 1 hour long. I'm sure that there will be some episodes that are 45 minutes long and then others that are even longer than 1 hour. But if you open up HBO and just look at the various like other shows that are on the platform, you'll see the total runtime of like an 8 episode show, usually about over 6 hours long. But like I said, the duration of the episodes could vary, but the fact that we are getting 8 episodes is really good news. Now, will they be able to do the rest of the seasons like, season 4 and season 5 and 6 and 7 for that matter in 8 episodes? Probably not. I could easily see them doing 2 seasons for the rest of the books from 4 onward because of how long they are. Like, I don't know how they're going to be able to do Goblet of Fire in only 1 season at 45 minutes long. I mean, they're going to have to take some creative liberties and not have so many of these subplots. But that just tells me that season 1's pacing will be a lot different than say like season 6 and season 7. Next up, we have a recent interview from the director of photography who spoke about the Harry Potter show, and they revealed a bunch of information from this new interview with Forbes Brazil. I believe the name is Adriano Goldman, who is known for his work on The Crown and Andor. Well, they recently opened up about the crucial role in shaping the series, which Goldman is the director of photography, so he oversees the visual storytelling for the project. And apparently the team structure is like this. There are 3 directors of photography in total, with Goldman serving as the main cinematographer. He's personally handling 4 episodes, the first 2 and the last 2, which that should ensure for a really consistent vision. Now, in the interview, they also talked about like the overall vibrancy of the colors and the aesthetic. They plan to depart from the film's evolving tones, as the series will embrace a more vibrant and expressive color scheme. And the way that Goldman described this was as a reflective of his personal style, and he's aiming to create a fresh but long-lasting aesthetic, with the goal of making the show feel almost alive and immersive. Now, we also have details regarding the pre-production phase. Goldman was deeply involved in the 18-week pre-production phase, where he helped define the entire visual identity of the show, which he said he has a commitment and innovation while also honoring the source material, which I think is a good thing. Now, by far the biggest thing that was revealed during this interview was the fact that they plan on prioritizing practical effects over CGI whenever possible, which this right here sounds really interesting. I actually vibe with this. I think having things more practical will be better, but there's some things like, for instance, a Patronus. Like, how are you going to do that without CGI? Like, obviously you will have to do it, but then there's some other things. Like, I'm trying to picture Harry's fight with Voldemort and like not using CGI. Like, that would be absolutely insane. I don't think that's possible, but I think for other things like, Stupefy, Incendio, and other things like that, they could do that practically, which I think will look pretty awesome. Now, the director of photography then emphasized that season 1 is going to be monumental as it establishes the set, the tone, and the visual language of the multi-season show. Now, Goldman did say that he's open to returning for subsequent seasons, but it will depend on scheduling and project evolution. So it's hard saying whether or not his enthusiasm will stay for the entire series and him like want to stay with the show, but we'll have to wait and see. I think having the visual tone and like the aesthetic stay the same for the entire series is okay, but I almost feel like there has to be like a darker shift with season 3. I just can't imagine season 3 of the Harry Potter series be really vibrant and colorful. It almost has to look a bit dark and dreary at times. Not that it should be like fully depressing or anything like that, but there should be like a noticeable shift in the tone for the entire series going forward. Either way, the excitement and hype for the Harry Potter show is definitely real. Will we get our first look at Dumbledore in costume soon? I sure hope we do. Let me know what your take is on all this stuff. Do you think practical effects are the way forward, or would you rather them focus more on CGI? Let me know down below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe with your noties on, and until next time, this has been Wes, and I will talk to you guys in the next video.